Madame et Messieurs, s'il vous plaît, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, ino katika, tamani no anakpok, klaslit nunani ino katika ni takugama, koyan namik, koyan akolusyak, tungasuk titawgata. I said in Canada I wanted to speak to the future of economics. My grandfather told my family that we can live without the white man's money. Economics is anything to do with money. So we were the last family to go into a community. But the Inuit people that were living around the Roman Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Hudson's Bay Store, we would call them Kablunagmiu, which meant white people's people. My family was called Ivilingmiu, our ancestry, people of the walrus, and there was Natchalikmiu, people of the seal. Kailnilmiu. In saying that, I would like to say, as a hunter, I'm going to put in the prevailing authority that exists in the Inuit mind and economics, how we switch with rapid modernization in Nunavut, very rapid. From 1972, we moved into a community. It's now 2016. My father was born before there were white people on Southampton Island. In fact, in 1979, when I graduated from high school, I went back to Coral Harbor. It's an island, Southampton Island. I had won $150,000 for a university in British Columbia, a scholarship. At my father, there was a man sitting there, and my father said, "Panik," he told me, "daughter of mine, this is the man you're going to marry." The prevailing authority that exists in me as an Inuk was never to talk back to my father, never. That was one time I had wanted to say no, but my father told me, I know his ancestry, I know his dependent. When he's mature, he'll be the man for you, the trust for my life. I trusted my father. Today, after 38 years, he's still my husband. Same thing with economics, money. How do we Inuit, as a people, hunt and distribution of wealth? We see our indigenous people with clothes. So how is the money? How would we deal with the money with our clothes, with our clothing? We go out as a hunter. As president of Nunavut Tunngavik Incorporated, I am responsible for $42 million a year. And our board, on top of another board, is responsible for Nunavut Trust, over $1 billion a year. Because in our history with the government of Canada, we surrendered, extinguished, and ceded for all time those of us, including our unborn children. So that money that we were hunting, economics, has to enable us to survive for generations to come. Did you know within the Inuit there was a prophecy? That prophecy said, Asivak. Asivak is a spider. Asivak will cover the earth. Think about it. Asivak in the Inuit world, thousands of years ago, was the internet covering the earth. So our societies, indigenous societies, have the means and the ability to survive with money and make money work for us. That's where the connect, the prevailing authority that exists in the Inuit mind and the institutionalized authorities clash. As president of NTI, I made sure the board of NTI, when mining industries like the Deputy Premier of Nunavut was saying, started to mine on our lands, I made sure that what has happened in other parts of the world, industry, resource development, understood they would just not take out the wealth of our country and leave us with nothing. Today in Nunavut, in 2010, as president, I created what's called royalty resource sharing. Every time a mine is mined on Inuit-owned lands, we get 12% for subsurface. For surface land, regional Inuit associations negotiate impact benefits agreement. I was very interested in what this lady was asking. How is the wealth distributed? In our world, in the indigenous societies, we always shared what we hunted. In fact, did you know that a seal meat, had a woman part that the woman ate, and a male part that the men ate? In doing so, we came up with that revenue resource sharing policy, so the subsurface royalties go to all Inuit across Nunavut. But the surface, the top of the land, goes just to one region, the most impacted region. In QIA, Baffin Island, they negotiated up to $21 million. In another region, in Kivadlik, they negotiated, just for the signing, $5 million. It's how industry works, and make it change for you. In doing that, to provide for certainty and clarity of rights to ownership and use of land and resources, the right for Inuit to participate in the decision-making concerning the use, management, and conservation of land, water, and resources, including the offshore. Nunavut Tunngavik Incorporated is responsible for 12 miles offshore. We face the greatest risk of oil development, but we are facing benefits if resource development takes place. To provide Inuit with wildlife harvesting right, we have to take due diligence in terms of climate change and rights to participate in decision-making concerning wildlife harvesting. In saying that, to encourage self-reliance and the cultural and social well-being of land, Just recently, I signed with the government of Nunavut what's called NNI policy. We worked on it for 4 years on procurement contracts. We were facing in the local communities. Can you hear me? I want to get this across to you. Can you understand me? We were in the local communities, we were experiencing companies that just flew in their own staff, that flew in their own houses, worked on construction and left. So NTI hired the best procurement lawyers in the world, Borden, Layden, Jarvis. They do procurement contracting for different governments of the world. We came up with a plan. There are 332 Inuit firms under our registry, Inuit companies, Inuit men, Inuit women. To protect them, we decided every time the government contracts are open and these construction companies do not hire enough Inuit, do not hire our services, the penalties will climb. After so many penalties, we will ban them for a limited time from contracting procurements. You have the power, you have the authority. You don't just sit back. You can say to these companies, we are banning you for 2 years or 3 until you follow what we want to do. Simple? Yes. Tough? Yes. But the government of Nunavut, to their credit, worked with us and came up with that policy. Or governments for industry, indigenous communities, indigenous firms can put aside millions of dollars. Let's say they put $600 million for a contract. That $600 million will be scheduled just to go to Inuit firms, Inuit societies. Why should non-Inuit firms be the only ones getting contracts? We have to know, according to the traditional knowledge of the Inuit, that we can survive as a hunter in economic times. Agree? We can do it. It's the way money operates. If we just put money into social issues, suicides, social programs, it's not going to work. You have to have the economic development in and on your own terms. My time is up. Kuya Namig, nuanuk tema.